is going on, guys? Welcome back once again. This is the Club of the Man 1993, and I am here live for my live review of Smackdown, and of course an updated background as I found a more recent graphic of Roman Reigns, the Tribal Chief. I'm sorry. He doesn't want to be called the Tribal Chief yet, because a certain somebody did not acknowledge him as the Tribal Chief this past Sunday at Clash of Champions. We'll get to that in just a second, but we're here live for the third time today. Not once, not twice, but three times. And maybe two or three turn alerts after this as well, as they seem for the most part to be confirmed on this show. So we are here live again to talk about last night's edition of Smackdown. And overall, it was a decent show. I was close to saying solid, but it was just missing something for it to make it solid to me. I thought it was a decent show. We, of course, we had our first match officially announced for Hell in a Cell. The stipulation, we'll get into that for that match. We also had stuff being set up for next week, as next Friday's edition of SmackDown will be night one of the 2020 draft. How's it going to work this year? I do not know. We'll have to wait and see, what they do with it. So we'll get into that. But I'd say it was a decent episode of SmackDown this week. Of course, partially why is because of the Universal Champion, the Big Dog, the Mad Dog, whatever you want to call him now. Again, we can't call him the Tribal Chief yet. He's not the Tribal Chief yet, but he will be. We just have to wait and see, though. But yeah, so it was a decent episode of SmackDown this week. So, of course, first as always, let's check the live chat. And we've got Robbie One Kenobi in the house. What's going on, Robbie? He says, "Hey, Mike, I just got camel fur trending." Huh, Mike? Of course, Robbie, because you're a genius, Robbie, and that's why we like you. Hashtag, please sign Robbie. J.R. Campbell, he says, he can't wait for Survivor Series, okay? He also says, "Hi, Captain Man 1993. Captain Man? That's a new one. Captain Man. I wonder who's going to fight at Survivor Series. I have no idea. He bet the stipulation Hell in a Cell will involve Jey Uso having to acknowledge Roman as Tribal Chief, which is kind of where I'm getting to as well. There was a stipulation announced apparently today on Talking Smack, but I'm going to add on to it, of course. And Robbie kind of already took the words out of my mouth. I won't say it was my idea. I won't say it was his idea. We both thought of it, though, because we're both geniuses. So we're going to get into this show and talk about it. So SmackDown, sure enough, does open up with Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman. Of course, this is supposed to be the celebration of Roman Reigns and him being crowned officially the Tribal Chief. Paul Heyman starts off, of course, being a little bit nervous and nerve-wracking, which, again, I continue to say I do like, again, that they're trying to make Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman different from Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar. This time it feels like, of course, Brock Lesnar needed Roman Reigns. Brock Lesnar needed Paul Heyman. Now it feels like Paul Heyman needs Roman Reigns, because Roman Reigns basically is just dragging him around, as it seems like. And this segment, again, just showed that Roman Reigns is playing the system like a fiddle. And he's continuing just to play the mind games with his own family as well. I didn't think they were going to continue the feud with Roman and Jey, but they are. And of course, there's a good reason why. So Heyman starts off saying he's a bit nervous because he knows Roman Reigns and his family his entire life. Since the day Roman was born, he's always looked forward to this actual moment because they'll all know this was destined to happen. Tonight, we are all here to officially declare Roman Reigns as the Tribal Chief. And not just the Tribal Chief of the Amway family, or of SmackDown, or of WWE, but the Tribal Chief of the entire WWE WWE Universe. Which is why it is so necessary that Roman is your undisputed Universal Champion. Sets the stage by tracing the lineage from High Chief Peter Maivia to Alpha to Roman's father Sika, which Roman then immediately puts his hands out, like, "Give me the mic, bitch." Takes the microphone and he says, "I don't want to be acknowledged as the tribal chief because he didn't. I need to talk to my cousin. Jay, get out here right now, man." Out comes Jey Uso, who comes out, who has a bandage on his forehead from when Roman beat the shit out of him at Clash of Champions on Sunday. He tells Roman, "I don't know you, Us. You're supposed to be my cousin, my blood, my family. But at Clash of Champions, you showed your true colors. And so did I. Roman beat my ass, but I didn't break my spirit. You didn't break my spirit. And I'm ready to go to war. And if Jimmy didn't throw in the towel, that title would have been mine." Roman just stares for a long time before asking Jay, he's like, "You think I'm proud of what I did? That was the worst night of my life, professionally and personally." He was trying to do Jay a favor. All he wanted to do is put him in the main event, put his name in the marquee, give him a huge payday, and let him do something nice for his wife and his kids. He loves Jay more than his brother does. You're day one. You've been there my whole life. All I wanted to do was raise you up, and all you had to do was acknowledge me. Say my name. Just kidding. He didn't say that. No. But all you had to do was acknowledge him. All he tried to do was say the words and acknowledge him as the tribal chief. From the day he was born, it was his birthright. But it wasn't handed to him. He worked his ass off for it. And Jay's seen him the whole way. All he wanted to do was represent their family to the fullest, share the main event with him, and what did he do? Jay disrespected him, embarrassed their whole family, and he broke Roman's heart. Even now, as he spills his guts, what's Jay looking at? Is this title? Is that what you want? Do you want another shot? You want another shot? You got it. I don't. He doesn't care. You want a Hell in a Cell? Fine, it's yours. So he gives Jay another shot for the championship. However, he mentions the stakes will be higher than any match has ever had in WWE history. Which Roman walks away and Jay calls him out saying, "Whatever the stakes are, I'm on." So the match is accepted. So apparently it was announced on Talking Smack today, it's going to be inside Hell in a Cell. I won't deny, I don't think it should be inside Hell in a Cell. But if it is going to be inside Hell in a Cell, it can't be just a pinfall or a submission finish. Or, I'm sorry. It cannot be a pinfall or a submission finish. And also cannot be, not a no disqualification, guys, but match stoppage. Match stoppage. Remember, that was the name of the finish last year for Hell in a Cell. Year before, it was no contest. Then last year, it was match stoppage. Here's personally what I think, the match should be. And Robbie already kind of mentioned it as well in the live chat. Why is Roman giving Jay this match again? You want to know why? Because Jay did not acknowledge him. He did not acknowledge who Roman Reigns is. The tribal chief. So basically, then again, think about it. Now that I think about it, it kind of makes a little bit more sense to be inside Hell in a Cell. Because Jey Uso cannot get in and throw in the towel. I mean, he could from the outside, but he can't get in to throw in the towel for his brother. So, my thing is, if it's going to be inside Hell in a Cell, to get the higher stakes or whatnot that he's saying, has to be an I Quit match. an I quit match, but instead of saying I quit, he has to acknowledge that Roman Reigns is the tribal chief. That's what he's got to say. Or, of course, I don't know what Jay would say or whatnot. You're not the tribal... He would... Or, like, if Jay would win, Roman would have to say, I am not the tribal chief. I'm not the tribal chief, or, or you are the tribal chief, or something like that. I don't know, like, something like that. Because that's the reason why this feud's continuing. Because Roman Reigns didn't get the satisfaction out of getting his own bloodline, his own cousin, one of his best friends. He even has said himself personally, the Usos are pretty much his best friends in the whole world. Brothers, grew up together side by side. Roman Reigns wants to hear not Jimmy Uso, not Matt Riddle, not Daniel Bryan, not AJ Styles, not his own daddy, not his kids, not his wife. Maybe he does, who knows, I don't know. Roman Reigns wants to hear Jey Uso say, you're the tribal chief. So, if this is going to be inside Hell in a Cell, when you must get your opponent to say, you're the tribal chief to win. Pretty much. Kind of like an I quit stipulation inside Hell in a Cell, but instead of saying I quit, say you're the tribal chief. Roman Reigns wants to do whatever he can to cement his legacy. Raise it higher. Again, he is playing the system and his own family like a fiddle. And I love it. I just love that power that he just oozes out of his pores that he thinks he has. Again, his charisma, his believability, like his character, damn it. The instant he came back and he speared the Fiend at SummerSlam, instantly, this new Roman Reigns was born. And again, I am loving it. I am loving it, loving it, loving it. I can't wait to see what he does next. So, of course, that's how we started off the show. And then afterwards, AJ Styles came out. And he says, is this over? And it really matters who sits at the head of the table and gets the most chicken bones. But Jay matters to him. He doesn't want to see him take another beating like that. So he wants Jay to give the shot to somebody more qualified. And he goes to attack Jay, but he dodges it and dives on him. And we set for a match. Jey Uso versus AJ Styles, which was a good match. And to my surprise, Jey Uso won clean. He won clean over AJ Styles. I wasn't too sure about that at first, but I'm like, fine. It works. I mean, I still to this day am never going to say Jey Uso is going to become Universal Champion. There's no way Roman's dropping that title to Jey. It's not happening. I'm sorry, guys. Roman is holding on to that title probably till WrestleMania. And drop it to either Big E or King Lee. Or Keith Lee. Big E or Keith Lee, one of the two. Unless if Otis cashes it. If he doesn't move to Raw in the draft. He might be moving to Raw. I'm not sure. But yeah, Jey Uso beat AJ Styles clean. I was surprised by that. I don't hate it. Didn't love it either, but I'm like, okay. Nice little swerve. Good match. What do you guys think of that? So we have that to start the show. Then we get a recap of the Intercontinental Championship ladder match, which was awesome at Clash of Champions. And then here comes Sami Zayn. Here comes Sami freaking Zayn. So he says, you might expect him to gloat about winning, but it's a whirlwind of emotions, and at the top of the list are resentment and anger. The risks he had to take just to defend what was rightfully his, and that just makes him angry. At first he was mad at management, but the more he thought about it, the more he realized that we, the fans, are to blame. See you in hell, as he was saying last year. But then he throws the sham that AJ Styles and Jeff Hardy held right where it belongs. The garbage, which is right where it belongs. Throws away, the other title belt and keeps the one that he had. Which then is setting up for a championship rematch, which I will, of course, get into why I think they did this match on this show instead of just having the rematch at Hell in a Cell. So then we have, before the next match, we have this insert promo from Otis saying he's ready to fight Miz and Morrison in court, but next week he's going to represent himself. So I'm like, oh boy, we're taking this stupid storyline to court. So we have John Morrison and Otis. And look, let me tell you something here, guys. I love Otis. Nothing against him. He entertains me. He's funny. He's done the best he can with this push he's gotten as a single star this year. He's a lucky son of a gun. He not only won Mandy Rose, he got to make out with Mandy Rose in a pool while wearing a bikini. Mandy Rose, not Otis, of course, but still, damn it, Otis. Although I still got those autographed photos of Deonna Purrazzo on my desk over here, but, even though you got all that, Otis, that doesn't mean you should be squashing John Morrison. Otis beat John Morrison in like 3 minutes. Yeah, I said that. Otis beat John Morrison in 3 minutes. John, my friend, you were awesome on the David versus Goliath edition of Survivor. You're of course you're awesome in Lucha Underground, wherever else you've gone to since you left WWE for 9 years. But I'm continuing to ask you this question. Why did you return? Why did you come back? Why? I'm still asking that. Why did John Morrison come back to WWE? Because to me, he's been booked like shit since coming back. Now, again, when him and Miz had the tag titles, I was fine with them. I thought they're fun. But ever since then, in that feud with Braun Strowman for Backlash, the greatest wrestling show on earth. It had the greatest wrestling match ever. Cut me a freaking break. Ever since then, I've just so been like, why are you back? Why did this happen? Why is John Morrison back? And why it just makes me sick. So, yeah, Otis won in 3 minutes. Then we see Sasha Banks backstage. We're told that she's going to address Bayley tonight. Then we have Big E getting another insert promo, wherein he proposes a feud-ending Falls Count Anywhere match with him and Sheamus next week, which gives me this inkling that one of these two, probably Sheamus, is going over to Raw in the draft next week, which I think should happen, because who else is Sheamus going to feud with on SmackDown? There's a lot of faces on Raw I think he could feud with, so we'll see. But speaking of Sheamus, guess what we see next for the 20th time this year? Chad Gable gets squashed by Sheamus. Yeah, that's right, Chad Gable, even though he's supposed to be a heel, I don't know what the heck he is now. Chad Gable is now basically Sheamus' personal punching bag. That's always been all year, ever since Sheamus came back from injury. He's been Sheamus' personal punching bag. Remember when I said that it'd be a good undercard feud, Sheamus and Chad Gable? Yeah, the fact that, of course, that he's Shorty G and Sheamus, yeah, it's turned to a complete joke. Sheamus squashes Gable. I didn't even care. Then we have another brand-to-brand invitational thing. Oh my goodness. Again, they have been way overdoing it lately. Again, this is where I'm saying enough is enough. Hope after this draft, no more brand-to-brand invitational shit for a while. I mean that. So, we have Kevin Owens coming over to SmackDown, which, again, I will talk about Mr. Owens later on in this show. So, Kevin Owens comes over for the Kevin Owens show, because he has to know what's going on with Alexa Bliss. So, he comes out, he welcomes Alexa, talks about her change in attitude, and reminds him of what he sees in Aleister Black. So, again, Alexa, who, always seems like, fine and bubbly and whatnot, doesn't already seem like she's already kind of out of it. Always seems like there's already something that's gotten to her already. We didn't have to mention him to get her, possessed. To me, she was fully consumed. I'll say his name now. By the Fiend. He was fully consumed. She was fully consumed by the Fiend. Because she, when Owens is saying how she feigns ignorance and she used to be cheery, and which she says and then she leads to her saying, people change, Kev. You should try it sometime. And Owens admits, well, I am trying to change for the better. I've done a lot of terrible things in my career. But it's not about me, it's about you. She's like, people fear what they don't understand. Have you ever met him before? You get all pins and needles around him. And it feels like looking through you and you can't look away. But Owens is like, I guess I'm not going to get answers since you've been brainwashed. And Alexa's like, oh, I have been washed. My brain has been washed. And I see the truth. He's everywhere. You can hear him now. And then Owens is like, he's here, isn't he? And that's when Alexa says, let him in. And as soon as she says that, the lights just go out, and then you hear it in the ring, and sure enough, the lights come on. The Fiend is there with the mandible claw applied to Kevin Owens, choking him out and having him pass out. Then he turns to Alexa Bliss, who is still seated. He extends his hand, and she takes it smiling, disappears. So I guess Alexa Bliss went off and had some fun with the Fiend. So I've been saying for a few weeks, especially on that one episode of SmackDown, whenever she was on commentary and Nikki Cross was having that match with Lacey Evans, and I just remember Lacey just saying the Fiend, and Alexa was like, and it's like they're trying to have this illustration that she's possessed by the Fiend. I thought it looked so fake, but with the imagery and everything, with last week with the Fiend basically appearing everywhere on the screens and whatnot, and causing Alexa to just snap. I thought that, in my opinion, was more intriguing, and more realistically. And of course now, since he basically has fully consumed her now I'm like, okay, now this is believable. Now I could say this is more believable, in my opinion, that Alexa Bliss has been consumed by the Fiend. And now it's interesting me. But of course, my question still remains also is, okay, the Fiend's here, but what happened with the Firefly Funhouse? Again, what happened with the Firefly Funhouse? The last thing we saw was right after the Fiend had dropped the title once again, we have Puppet Vince come in, and with that walrus, whatever the heck his name was, that they've made a shirt for on WWE Shop, apparently, that TN Couponer showed me, which I think is stupid. It looks like the authorities had taken over the Firefly Funhouse, and then he's like, oh no! To be continued. We've seen nothing since. So, what, did WWE completely just cancel the Firefly Funhouse? And then also, I'm still asked this question, is this supposed to be a heel faction? The Fiend and Alexa Bliss. Are they supposed... I mean, since he attacked Kevin Owens, I'm taking it as for now, which is why I'm going to do a turn alert for Alexa Bliss after this. I'm assuming now it's supposed to be a heel. I'm assuming now, even though the Fiend, I think at some point, is going to turn face when he feuds with Roman Reigns, I think for now they're just going to be heels. That's what it's going to be. Because it was advertised also that we are going to get Kevin Owens and Bray Wyatt, and the Fiend, Bray Wyatt, on SmackDown in an actual match next week. Keep in mind, Bray Wyatt has only wrestled on pay-per-views since he debuted the Fiend character. He has not wrestled on an episode of Raw or SmackDown at all. So that's a little bit odd that they're doing that. So I don't know what we're in store for that, but I mean, in some ways, though, with the Fiend has lost the Universal Championship already. I mean, yes, they protected him by not taking the pin at Payback. Braun Strowman did instead. But maybe you might have to go a little bit of a different direction with the Fiend. And adding in Alexa Bliss gives her a direction. And could maybe give the Fiend somewhat of a different direction as well. So we'll see where it goes. it's just still confusing to me as, like, why were they basically making the Fiend look like the face in his triple threat feud, or whenever he was feuding with Braun Strowman, it kind of made it look like it was a double turn. It just doesn't quite make sense to me. But now it's starting to get a little more interesting. So the Fiend is fully consumed Alexa Bliss, and we'll see where it goes. So we've got that. Live chat. Let's see what we got in the live chat here. We've got here. Well, Roman gets drafted to Raw, and Roman Reigns get moved to Raw like drafted. The Raw then after, and his belt turned blue or red. How about if he wins, it becomes the tribal chief Roman Reigns? Of course, it was upsetting that Jey Uso beat AJ Styles. That was an upset that Jey also won. I'm not sure. Did you notice AJ Styles' ring gear is in honor of breast cancer awareness? I actually did not notice that, but that was definitely a good gesture by AJ. He would love to see Kevin Lee. I'm not sure if he meant Keith Lee or Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. Either one, yes, especially if it could help light a fire on Kevin Owens again. Of course, Tyler saying AJ deserves better. If Drew stays on Raw in the draft, it could be Drew McIntyre, the WWE title versus Sheamus WWE Championship. I guess you could do that match if Drew keeps the title on him after Hell in a Cell. Look, they're about to do Orton and Drew again. Who knows? I think AJ is going to stay on SmackDown, Tyler. Alexa Bliss has become Harley Quinn looking for Mr. J, pretty much. Bray is going to kill Kevin Owens next week. He pretty much is. Who knows? But yeah, so thank you for your stuff in the live chat, guys. Let's roll forward now. Afterwards, we have the 6-man tag match with the Artistic Collective, Cesaro, Nakamura, and Baron Corbin taking on Lucha House Parties, Grand Metalik, and Lince Dorado. And Matt Riddle, and I don't know why Kalisto was not in this match. I don't know why they had to make a 6-man tag match. I didn't care about this match. I just know the babyfaces won with the Roderick, whatever heck Matt Riddle calls his finishing maneuver that looks similar to a forward tombstone pile driver. Afterwards, though, Kalisto tries to raise Riddle's hand, but then the Lucha House Party start bickering again for God knows what. Again, it just makes no sense. So then we have Sasha Banks coming out. Well, before we have that, we get another vignette from this mystery woman, finally revealed to be Carmella. We all knew it was going to be Carmella. It was just way by the hairstyle and the other stuff we've seen, besides her actual face, too obvious that it was Carmella. So Carmella comes out, she talks about how she lost her path because of us. And she finally steps out of the shadows, and she's better than us, and she's not our princess anymore. She is untouchable. Or is she, or something like that. And takes a photograph and whatnot. And then, of course, she says, it doesn't matter if I'm going to be on SmackDown or Raw, this is that. So Carmella is pretty much a heel again. We'll see what it does for her. I don't know. But there's one doubt about it. She's staying on SmackDown. If her man Corey Graves is staying as a commentator on SmackDown, you bet your ass she's staying on SmackDown as well. But who knows if they'll actually have a direction for her, because we're going to be definitely caught up with the Sasha and Bayley feud for quite a while. Which, speaking of which, Sasha Banks comes out. She calls Bayley out and asks if she thinks her not being medically clear is really going to stop her from beating her down at Clash of Champions. You think she would have learned a thing or two from her about having a backbone. But Bayley is nothing more but a coward that needed her time again to keep her title. She used her every step of the way for her accomplishments and achievements, using her to become the longest reigning SmackDown Women's Champion. And she knows Bayley isn't here because she's scared of her. But next week they're going to have a match for the title, and when it comes down to the line and nobody's there to save her, which Sasha takes off the neck brace and punctuates saying that she's coming for her, bitch, and drops the microphone. I guess it was alright. Again, I'm still waiting for, unless they're keeping it, Sasha at some point again's got to admit that her character, herself, obviously has used Bayley as well. That's the story they gotta go with. Again, they can't as I'm saying, I get the story they're trying to tell. And again, I reiterate back to him a lot because I watch his videos, and I like his idea. But Just Alex, formerly Deluxe Man, mentions that what they gotta do is, yes, kind of make it like how it was with the way they wrapped up Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa's feud. Made both of them look like they had their faults in the feud. But it's like, again, Sasha Banks always has to be on top. But she's just doing business. It's just how it is. She, throws, friendships away to get the championship. Bayley, though, went all psycho. All psycho when the fans turned on her and when she was in the droughts. So they both used each other. So it's like, even if Sasha, which I'm probably going to eternal for Sasha, because Sasha, no doubt about it, is going to be the babyface in this feud. You can't still take away that mojo that Sasha has that makes her at her best. She can't be that white knight babyface that wants be like the crowd's hero. No. She still has to be Sasha Banks. I always have to be on top pretty much. And when it comes to the championship, I got no friends. I mean, yes, you can have that emotional side to her, like how she does have a soft spot for having friendships and whatnot. But when it comes to business, Sasha Banks still, does what she has to do to get the championship. You can't make that full, soft spot, purebred baby face for Sasha Banks. That's just not how Sasha Banks works. So again, just be careful with that. But yes, we are getting a title match next week. I mean, I guess it saves it from the first match being Hell in a Cell, because this is going to be a series of matches, obviously, in this feud. It's not going to be just like 1 or 2 matches, no. So, it's probably going to be Sasha wins the title next week off of Bayley. 1 year after Bayley had won the title, even though she had lost it just for a couple of days. So, technically, she's been the SmackDown Women's Champion since Money in the Bank in 2019. And then she lost it for a couple of days to Charlotte before she won it back when Bayley had fully cemented her heel turn and debuted her new character completely, even though they had her turn heel a month earlier, but they slowly had her old self cracking, but still acting like nothing. Again, I still loved how they slowly turned Bayley heel. I will say, again, they kept things the same they were. Bayley acting like nothing's changed, but yet she was falling under Sasha's bad spell. So Sasha's probably gonna win next week, and then Bayley probably win the title back at Hell in a Cell, and then however it goes from there, we'll have to see how it goes from there. We'll see. But yeah, so we got that. Then we have the main event, Jeff Hardy versus Sami Zayn for the IC title. Good match. Sami continuing to have some tricky heel tactics in there again, exposing the turnbuckle and whatnot, being sneaky about it. Which, if he continues to do that and also continues to wrestle, I'm fine. Again, that's all I wanted to see from Sami Zayn. Just wrestle again and don't look like a complete joke. Which he's done fine since returning from his hiatus. So if they do that, I'm totally fine with that. And he retained the Intercontinental Championship. Now, let's be honest. Let me just mention this already. Where do I think this should go from here? So, I talked about him earlier being over here for the brand-to-brand invitation. And next week, he's going to be on SmackDown again, taking on The Fiend. But I personally think, and here's the thing, if it was like last year, or like around WrestleMania 35, when they kind of did already split them up on different brands, even though the wild card rule had brought them back briefly as an alliance again, I was saying how I think for 1 year, even though it hasn't made much of a difference, keep Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn from separate brands. Have them take a break from each other, because when they are on the same brands, they continue to cross paths way too much. But now that Sami's back, and he's kind of getting, his footing back, again, I'll give him that. I've been saying for the past month or so that Kevin Owens is just really lost in the shuffle and at a complete dead end. If it wasn't for this idea, I'd still be pleading to send him back to NXT. But he's not going to go back to NXT at this point now. I think Kevin Owens, because my thing is one of them should be switching brands. One of them's going to be switching brands, I feel like. But I don't see Bobby Lashley or the Hurt Business moving to SmackDown. I still see them staying on Raw. And Bobby Lashley's not going to be dropping the United States Championship this coming week. I feel, personally, like Kevin Owens should come over to SmackDown. And in order to light the fire back into him, have a feud with Sami Zayn for the IC title. Roles reversed. Kevin Owens is now trying to storyline. He's trying to, make things right. He's done terrible things. He's trying to turn it around now. They're trying to get the gears going for Kevin Owens as a babyface. Even though, again, he's either Stone Cold Steve Austin or too soft as a babyface. But a feud with Sami Zayn with the roles reversed for the IC title might be the way to get his wheels turning again. Get him, to where he was supposed to be. When he came back from injury, when he feuded with Daniel Bryan for the WWE title last year, Kevin Owens, until Bryan's injury, his concussion after WrestleMania, he was off for weeks, and they had to temporarily make Owens a heel again to fill that spot. Until then, Kevin Owens was supposed to be booked as the number 2 babyface on SmackDown, behind Roman Reigns. That's how it was supposed to be for Kevin Owens. So if you put him over on SmackDown, and of course have him feud with maybe Sami Zayn, I don't know if he's going to win or not, but at least it can help, reignite that fire back in him. And if you want to have him feud with Roman Reigns, go for it. Even though, of course, their matches were way overdone in 2016, Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns a few times did show some good chemistry. I think about they had a steel cage match on Raw in 2016, shortly after Owens had won the title. They had that match at Royal Rumble in 2017. I thought that was really good between the two of them. They can put on good matches. So, I think Owens should go to SmackDown and feud with Sami Zayn. That's our next Intercontinental title feud. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, roles reversed. If Sami Zayn is going to keep doing what he's been doing the past couple weeks since returning, I think he'll be fine. Kevin Owens could use this to help get the fire going for him again. Because ever since WrestleMania, when he beat Seth Rollins, supposed to get him rolling again, make him the prize fighter again, he's just been lost in the shuffle. Well, partially because he had an ankle injury, but also, I'm hearing rumors, Owens and Rollins were supposed to continue their feud after WrestleMania. But then Owens suffered an ankle injury, and they pulled the plug on it. That feud was supposed to continue. Jeez, oh man, why? We already had 5 months of that, but yes, long story short, move Owens to SmackDown, have him feud with Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental Championship. And with that being said, yep, that's my review of SmackDown. Let's check the poll on Twitter. Let's see what we got here. Let me see here. 5 votes for what great review of SmackDown. 40% said A. Nobody said B. 40% said C. 20% said D or lower. C+ for me. C+ for SmackDown. Almost a B-, but something was just missing from that. So I give it a C+. C+ from SmackDown. Decent show. Let me see here. Man, Keith Lee, do you think that Sasha will win the SmackDown Women's title next week? I think she is. Why didn't Bayley show up on SmackDown this week? Probably because, like Sasha said, she's afraid of her. That's alright. If we're not doing Roman and AJ, what if Drew goes to SmackDown with the WWE title to feud with AJ? I don't think Drew's moving over to SmackDown. I think Drew's staying on Raw. If Drew didn't have the title, I'd say yes, he's going to SmackDown. Maybe, I don't know, but he's staying on Raw. I don't see Drew moving. Sammy has Enzo go away heat to me. He did too, but again, like I said, I've been liking the booking, getting back on track, and actually making him a man, not having him a freaking manager anymore, but actually booking him a little more seriously, not just as a joke. So I'm not as sour on Sami Zayn as I was before. Let's put it that way. Not Lacey Evans with her shoe throwing fits. Not Carmella, a.k.a. Untouchable. Not Dijakovic with his Bane-looking mask. Not the Walrus puppet or the other Firefly Files puppets. 1 out of 2. not Ninja's Akira Tozawa, not anyone else on the main roster, but Jey Uso must acknowledge Roman as the tribal chief. Yep, not any of them. Not Lacey Evans and her shoe-thrown fits. Not Carmella, untouchable. Not Dijakovic, which is Bane-looking mask. I'm sorry, T-Bar. Not the Walrus puppet or the other Firefly Files puppets. Not Ninja Akira Tozawa. Not anyone else but Jey Uso has to call him the tribal chief. Tyler doesn't think Owen should go to SmackDown. Put Seth on SmackDown. That's one I have considered. I'm not sure yet. Let me think about that one. I am maybe trying to do a predictions for the draft next week. I can't promise it, but I'm considering it. Maybe I'll start working on the graphics tonight if I can. But I want to try to get some type of predictions video in for the draft. But Seth Rollins going to SmackDown? Possibly. We'll get back to that one. That's going to do it, guys. We have one more thing with live chat. Heel reunion with Seth and Roman. It could be, yeah. We'll see. But that's going to do it, guys, for my SmackDown review. I gave it a C+. What are your thoughts on SmackDown this week, guys? Please leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. As always, to slap a like on the video, subscribe or comment on my channel, and follow me on Twitter at TheManAirboy93. And that's going to do it, guys. So thank you guys for joining me live 3 times tonight, guys. Have a couple tournaments going to record tonight, and I guess that's going to be it for tonight. Again, I will try to do a live review of TakeOver tomorrow, but like I said again, guys, my friend I've been watching wrestling with lately, he again now lives an hour away from me, so I might get home late tomorrow night, depending on how tired I am, and also I got to do something called go to work on Monday, but the following week I'm off from work for an entire week, so yay. So that's going to do it, guys. I'm checking out. Have a great rest of your night. I'll see you guys in my next video, next live stream, which is most likely the NXT TakeOver 31 review. So until then, guys, have a great night, and make sure to, once he beats the hell out of Jey Uso at Hell in a Cell, no pun intended, acknowledge this man as your tribal chief. Acknowledge him, guys. Peace out, everybody.